Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of the Foreman Boxing Magazine. And again, we're at the Choice. Make the choice, your choice. In Atlantic City, 470, North Albany Avenue in Atlantic City. It's a very beautiful place. I think I had it up. If you go to my website, you'll see pictures of it, the VIP room here online. A very beautiful spot near the shore. You can't beat this. It's just a great place to be. Come by, have drinks, Bowls Chicken. Back. That's where I'm going when I finish here. So come on by and get something to eat. But today the last few shows, if you've known, I've been giving you like my different opinions on certain things, whether it's the greatest fighters of all times, greatest upsets of all times. This week we're going to talk a little bit more boxing, and we actually we're going to give you a number to call in. And if you're looking at us on Provide, which we're recording on that as well, www.provide TV, but we're also on Facebook, so you're getting two feeds at the same time. You'll be able to call. If you like, you can put your answers on Facebook, and any questions on Facebook, and any questions you may have, we can answer them for you as well. Let me say hello to Cindy and Phil Erickson out in Carolina, over there enjoying a well-needed vacation. Pastor Erickson and his wife and his son, Phil Jr., just moved to Texas, so to take over his own church. So hello to you guys. Now, before we get started with everything else, I have on the line with us, and we're testing this out. So if it doesn't go well today, it will go well eventually. But I have on the phone with us right now is the former heavyweight champion of the world, and Riddick, two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick Big Daddy Bowe. So Bowe, we got, and Jonathan Phelps, and I want to thank you also for putting this together for us. But you guys are down there in Florida enjoying the good life, I suppose. But Riddick, I got a couple of questions I want to ask you first about your life in boxing, and then I want to ask you now let's do this first. What do you think about the upset with Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua? What's your opinion? I mean, so are you okay? Now, I don't want to be like some of the other pundits, and every time a guy loses, there's always an excuse. But I mean, is that if he was knocked out in training camp, why did they is that a rumor, that actuality, that somebody been able to verify that, or what?
Oh, you did have to every camp. I guess one of these attorneys let the fight go on like you want.
Well, do you see Andy Ruiz becoming that guy that everybody wanted Joshua and Wilder to beat? Does that if Anthony comes back and beat him, does that make that fight still big, or because he's lost one time, or does Andy? I'm sorry. So, in your opinion, the loss to Andy Ruiz, should Joshua win the title back? Because there's no guarantee, but should Joshua win the title back, in your opinion, the fight between he and Wilder becomes just as big as ever?
Yeah, sure. Actually, you got two big guys, and both of them fight. I think that should be a problem.
Now, the boxing situation, the life of the fighter, let's put it like that, in boxing in general. Tell us a little bit about what does it take, in your opinion, right now, to straighten out the world of boxing? I say, in your opinion, what do you think boxing needs to help straighten it out? You've been former two-time champion of the world. You know, you've enjoyed the life, celebrity life of the sport, but you also know some of the pitfalls of the sport as well. So what does the fighter need? What does boxing need right now to help make things a lot better for fighters in the future? Because financially, a lot of these guys have been hurt, both physically and financially.
Is it
have, before I let you go, because I know you're out doing something, I appreciate you taking the time to call. I have to ask you, because people have been asking me all the time, what was it like, and because I did the brawl, I sat ringside at all 3 of those fights. What was those brawls like between you and Evander Holyfield?
Oh man, Evander's a great guy. I love him kind of like a brother, but I just feel the fight so he was really but it was a way I was going to come in and out of there's not time to do it. You know, everybody wanted to win. I wanted to win. I mean, I just need like a little bit man to do it, man. Everybody trying to win. That's what you get.
Well,
He has line of a heart. I guess a lot of people underestimate me and these things would turn out like it did, but that's why they came to the great because we both wanted to win, nobody wanted to take it out.
now, we know what happened in the first and third fights. Of course, you won those 2. But in that second fight, Riddick Bowe, people said Riddick Bowe came in, he wasn't in shape, he'd been living a good life. What happened in the second fight? Did the fan man throw you off when he came into the ring that night? What happened? What happened? How did that bother you after that little debacle with him coming into the ring with the? Okay, well look, our plan is to have you in on the show down here in Atlantic City pretty soon. So I want to thank you for taking out the time to call in. But we're going to bring you into the studio here, or into the choice, into this fabulous sports bar and grill here in a few weeks. Have you come down, sit, and people can come out and meet the former 2-time heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe. Riddick, thank you so much for calling.
Okay, thank you so much. God bless you.
All right, thank you. Now that was Riddick Bowe, former 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, and we hope you heard that, was able to pick that up, because I'm not sure how the transmission, we're trying something new, so if you didn't, just to let you know, I'll kind of like rephrase some of the things that Riddick said about the life of a boxer and what boxing sometimes needs. He said it needs a whole lot, which we already know that, but there are some changes that needs to be done in the sport to make it better, and we're going to continue to talk about that. I'm hoping to get a call in from Donald Curry, who was just inducted to the International Boxing Hall of Fame this week in Canastota, New York. So we're looking for that call, and we want to talk to him about his weekend and how it felt to be appreciated by the sport, the people that watched the sport, and the people that came out. He said it made him feel like a whole rejuvenated person, because he actually thought people in boxing and the boxing world had just forgotten about him. So we're going to hopefully get a chance to talk to him in a few minutes. But while we get ready for that, I want to kind of bring you up to date about some of the things that's taking place. Zab Judah this past weekend, as you may have read if you're a follower of the sport, was injured. He was put in the hospital after, I'm not sure, I didn't see it, but I'll just make statements that the newspaper and some other people that were there said he took a somewhat severe beating from the opponent that they took on that night. But it had been initially said that he was in a coma. Now, more or less a self-induced coma. But he's fine, and my understanding is that he's out of the hospital. And let's hope and pray that Zab is okay. I don't think you'll see him fighting again in his career. Maybe he's one of the guys that could become one of the great trainers of today, but realize that, hey, I had my time when I was there. It's over. So we want to wish all our great wishes to Zab Judah, and maybe in the coming weeks we hoping to have him on the show as well. But he's one of those stories that I've been telling you guys for years about boxing, about the sport of boxing, what it needs. Insurance for these fighters during and after their career. The stories continue to be sad. Last week, Mildred Taylor, former world Olympic champion, world middleweight champion, I think it was, a welterweight champion as well, welterweight champion, had a problem with the police. SWAT was called out, gun was pulled, he was taken into custody. There's questions about his mental stability. I was able to contact a doctor out in Las Vegas who's actually at the Muhammad Ali Center, I think, for the concussions and things, whatever it is out there in Vegas. Anyway, I spoke with the doctor. They're willing to bring him out, to help him out. Of course, they want to study the brain, just like the NFL is doing now. They want to study his brain and study him as well to see just exactly what's causing, what's the effects, I should say, rather, on the brain, and what these fighters doing and after. They're looking for a large group of retired fighters, former world champions or boxers, retired fighters, and some that's even boxing now because they like to put together, I guess it's a dossier. I've heard that word a lot in the news later, dossier, whatever it is. But anyway, they want to put together something where they can study these guys to find out just what are the effects, just like the NFL has been doing on concussions, the impacts onto the brain. So hopefully we can get Mildred as part of that, and maybe some of the other fighters that's been having problems as well. So we want to wish him, we wish him all the luck in the world as far as to getting better. This past weekend, Triple G, Gennady Golovkin as they call him, took on a fighter that it went pretty. There was no upset with this one. Let's put it like that. It pretty much went the way that it was supposed to be. And they were expecting that after his win against this, the young man's name was, I got it somewhere. I just can't depend on my mind like I used to anymore. But his name was, I got it. Just hold on. I got it. But anyway, he took him on this weekend. His name was Rose. And nondescript, 19-0 undefeated, but no competition for Golovkin. It was thought that Golovkin would take on Canelo this September, but today Oscar from Golden Boy Promotions put out a thing that said he's going to have to wait. Everybody was looking forward to that trilogy, but it looks like Oscar has, and Dazin has another avenue in which they want to go. And it doesn't look like they're going to put Canelo in any too tough of a fight right now, which, as I said last week, takes Canelo brothers and anybody else that they think that have a chance of beating him and making rough fights, puts him out of the mix. And how sad that is. The Hall of Fame this past weekend, as I stated, we had quite a few guys that was inducted along with Donald Curry, Don Elbaum, Lee Samuels, and some others. And there was a tribute that was done to one of the guys in boxing that's for the last, 30, 35 years or so that you've seen on the HBO show. They call him the Judge. Died, I want to say about a month ago. I've known him for a long time. Harold was one of those guys that when he never met a person he didn't like. He loved the sport of boxing. Been involved in it for, I think well over 60 some odd years. Then it was a sad thing to hear, but he was a trooper throughout because my understanding is that he had been sick for a pretty long time. And he did his job. He up until the end. As you well know, that HBO went off the air, I want to say about 3 months ago, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. They had their last broadcast, but he was able to go all the way through and finish his job, just like a fighter. He stayed into the last round. We want to wish his family our prayers, and we're thankful for the years that he gave us in his judging. So thank you, Harold, for that. Tyson Fury is back in the news again. He's fighting on a guy by the name of, I want to say Hank Schwartz, but that's not his name. The guy's name is Tom Schwartz. You know, again, do you expect another upset? Not really. I mean, but anything can happen in the world of boxing. I don't know much about the guy that he's fighting, but knowing that he's made this deal with Bob Arum in Top Rank, I don't think I've seen an upset coming like with Ruiz and Joshua on last week. So, but anyway, he's back. Then he's gonna he's got his name back in the heavyweight pictures again. With Ruiz losing, it kind of makes the fact that now that everybody is thinking that, hey, I got a shot at winning the title. That's a good thing because boxing needs the interest. July the 13th in Newark, one of my favorite young fighters is putting on the fight is actually July the 13th, I'm sorry, before I get to that point. Shakur Stevenson, who I think is one of the greatest up-and-coming little lightweights today. He's he's inviting people to come out to an open workout. I'm not sure exactly of the date, so you'll have to kind of check, but if you call, I'm sure if you can get in contact with his promoters or the newspapers in the area, they can tell you. But he's fighting a young man that's probably, again, you know, these guys, he's being built. So I don't see much of a challenge, but he's fighting in his hometown for the first time in a long time. So it's good to see him, and if he continues to make that climb in his division along the way, I think that the state of New Jersey will see him within the next year and a half fighting for a world title as well. So Shakur is a very great talent. I don't want him to go the way of a lot of other fighters. Like I said, I don't keep up. I keep up with the fight game. I don't keep up with a lot of fighters. But he's one of the guys I've liked from the time he was in the amateurs. And I'm just hoping that his career blossoms, because I love to see another world title that we can have here in Atlantic City. And we need somebody with the name, with the draw, that can come and bring the fights back to Atlantic City like we had back in the 80s, 90s, and even the early 2000s. So let's wish Shakur a very fast rise to the title. And again, maybe he can become part of that whole Arturo Gatti thing that we had here for about 10, 12, 15 years with Arturo, because he had some of the most exciting fights here as well. I'm just gathering all of my thoughts right here now. Atlantic City on June the 22nd, they're having a boxing match over at the Ocean Arena. Ocean Arena, yeah, but Ocean Casino. I'm not sure who the main event is, but I think on the 20th they're having an autograph signing where you can meet Bernard Hopkins and Iran Barkley, Roberto Duran. Speaking of Roberto Duran, and some others, I think Ray Mercer is going to be in town as well, so you can come out to a meet and meet those guys. But on Saturday, June the 22nd, here at the Choice, there will be a private party that will be held with Roberto Duran in attendance. It's at 4 o'clock from 4 to 8 p.m. Ticket prices are $25, Choice Bar. You can call for the number. I don't have the number right here, but you can call over to the Choice Bar, and I'm sure they'll give you more information about how do you get your tickets. There's a beautiful VIP room here, and this is where it's going to be held. But on June the 22nd, 2019, which is about a week or 2 weeks from today, you can get a chance to come and meet one of the greatest legends in the sport of boxing, and Roberto Duran, one of my favorite guys, always as always. Now, we're hoping to get a call in from the former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Reggie Johnson, as well. We're going to try to see if we can't reach him on the line to see if we can speak to him as well, and Donald Curry also, because these are guys that's going to continue to do some things in the sport of boxing as well. And we're hoping that and I think in about 2 weeks, if I'm right, July the 2nd, we intend to have them here with us also. So we're hoping to have both of those guys, and it'll be Reggie Johnson, Golden Johnson, as well as Donald Curry, who's just recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. So on the phone with us now is, I'm hoping, is Donald Curry. And Donald, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good to hear, man. And congratulations, Donald, on being inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much.
Before we get to your career, Don, take us kind of to what this past weekend was like, and what those 3 or 4 days that you were down there. What did that mean to you?
Oh, it meant a lot just to be honored and be around the people that was honored. And Washington is like a family. And I got around fighters that I had never met before. And that was the greatest thing because we were able to conversate, talk about different topics of what's going on in the world. And that was incredible for, my peers, to conversate and, have that one language to conversate about worldly things. That was incredible.
Would you consider? I mean, would you say that after how many years did you box, Don?
I fought for 22 years.
You fought for 20.
11 amateur and 11 professional.
Okay. Do you see in your career? Let's kind of go back when you first turned pro in the boxing game. Who was what exactly? I mean, I think people say the same thing. My goal was to win the title and to make a lot of money. But what else in the sport of boxing? What did you see boxing taking you to?
Not really. I wasn't really focused more on the money because I was a pro warrior who come up for the money wasn't really a main factor. The main factor was I had good skills and I was a good fighter and I made some incredible feats at the game in the amateurs and I was just hoping for a good career. Well, maybe I wanted to make a little money and then kind of secure myself for life. But it was very, very exciting and I had a good learning process for me.
Now, what was some of the toughest fights that you had? And because sometimes people not say it's not necessarily the fights that they lose are the toughest. It's tough to take a loss, I assume. But what were some of the toughest fighters that you may have faced, and who do you consider the toughest guy?
I mean, getting prepared for boxing, to go in the ring, all fighters are tough. So my toughest thing is just, get myself ready. If I get myself ready and do the right thing, get up in the morning, run, exercise, and do what I need to do in the gym, that was tough for me. I was my toughest opponent. By getting ready, because if I'm getting ready and I'm ready, there's no way you're gonna beat me.
In going to in getting prepared to fight for the title. Okay, how many fights did you have before you fought for the title?
I was like 11 or 10 fights because I had an extremely rich amateur career and I just took off fast. I had about maybe 10 or 11 fights and I took off real fast. One of the time, Sugar Ray, Tommy Hearn, Roberta Duran were right up against it and that division and they all moved us out of it and the newcomers came in, beat me up, all and those type of fighters came in and we were pretty much equal in competition. So that's why I got my opportunity.
Now, normally, I mean, up until, and even I would say up until the 1990s, the early 2000s, fighters tend to have had quite a few fights, maybe 30, 35 fights before they fought for a title. Now, I hear you say you fought for a world title with 11 fights. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you think, now that you look back on this, now I know you had an extensive amateur career, but do you think that was too fast?
No, not really. It depends on the competition that's around you. Now, Duran, Hearn, Leonard, Benitez, all those type of guys who want seasonal guys. And at that stage of that division, I wouldn't have moved that fast. It's just that they moved on and retired and moved up, gave me an opportunity to get guys that was around me, like Marlon Starr, Bill McCoy, all those foreigners, kind of same level, same number of
Okay, now you still live in the Dallas and Fort Worth area, correct?
Right.
And you were born.
Right.
Did you fight most of your career out of there?
No, sir, I fought around the world. I went to Vegas, Atlantic City, Europe, Africa, not like that in the professional, but the professional, no, I mean, I was seasoned by, Bobby. Boy, I like to give great thanks for because he's a great promoter, and he did a good job with me.
Bob he was your promoter throughout your career?
Yes, right. I started with Bob, and he saw my talent, and he saw that I was very skilled, and that I, kind of understood, boxing in the early age, and the fighters that he put me with at that level, maybe Duran or Miller, but it was a much harder fight for Duran or Miller to fight them fighters, and I just walked through them like it was like it was nothing. So that's why I advanced early in championship roles.
Now, I want to ask you, and if you don't mind sharing it with us, because sometimes sharing these stories are good for not only the young kids that's coming up, but people that want to know the Donald Curry story. You ran into a little problems after your career in boxing was over with. Do you mind sharing that with us for people who may not know exactly, or? Yes.
Okay, well, it was a situation where, people up in Detroit, I don't really want to name names, but Chambers was one of them. But we were out, I grew up in boxing, they became my friends, and, I got, we kept in touch, and that's kind of how really they got there. And then, they were doing that, and I just got, became a bad role model for myself, by participating. And looking, it wasn't, I really didn't participate. It was just something that, overwhelmed my mind. I never seen anything like that before, and I was just really going to just look at because I had so much, and my time in the game, that cocaine came out, and it was everywhere, and people were making so much money with it. I just want to take a look at it. They got used to by association of money.
Yeah.
And let that be the reason.
Now the voice that you hear in the background, I think it's either Golden or Star Johnson, and Golden was for those, Golden Johnson, for those who don't know, was also one of.
Golden wasn't able to be on.
Okay, Golden didn't able to make it. So, and it's kind of like sometime in my brother's place. My brother can't make it. They bring in the second banana. So instead of bringing Gold, they bring me in. They bring me in. So they brought in Star Johnson is here. But look, let me, and Star, you also boxed as well. But Donald, one of the questions I want to ask you guys is this: what do you see? And I just had asked the same question to Riddick Bowe. Give us, there's a plus side to boxing as well, money if you're successful. But tell us, what needs to be done for the fighter? I'm not talking about even afterwards, but what needs to be done for the fighter during and after his career? What do you see needs to be done for fighters?
Well, in one aspect of preparing for the fight, preparing to save their money, what part of, we're talking about, which part of that, as far as preparation, you want to get out and do your work, your road work, and your gym work.
No, not so much as, not the preparation. I'm talking about from a financial, you said that you got caught up in the cocaine and dealing with guys, like you said, associated with guys in the wrong, wrong background. But a lot of these guys make a lot of money. You guys, some of you guys, and most fighters, if they ascend to the top 10 rankings or even become champions, they make more money than most people, working people, are going to make in a lifetime. financially, most of you guys are not prepared for that because the education of the boxer is not there though. I mean, you wouldn't have got involved with those things had you not had something been set aside for you to help you once you got out of the sport.
Well, I did have something set aside. You know, it was a time and point while I was young and, you know, making sure, you know, that, you know, I would have a little bit more money because, you know, being around that environment, you know, they talked about, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that was kind of, you know, influencing me because, you know, it was mostly about the money. And, you know, after I got into boxing, money was not really a major part of my going into the professional game. But once I got there, all right, things changed and, you know, there was a little bit more greed in me. And Roy, I believe that's why boxing also needs a pension and somebody to forerun that. And some of these guys, some of these elite fighters could be the Kirk Blood, you know, arguing, man, the way they won't get blackballed. Got Hall of Famers like Don and Marvin Hagler and Ray Leonard and these guys, so forth, George, and these guys, because boxing is the only sport where you can take a kid that comes from absolutely nothing. We don't get drafted out of college. We don't, you know, we don't have any type of education. You have basketball, football, baseball players. Those guys have, you know, a year or two of schooling and also friends that went on the graduate school. So they can fall back on to where in boxing, you take an 18, 19-year-old kid who come from nothing and ultimately hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars, but he's going up against Harvard law graduates who've been in the business 50 years and Don King who's been in the business 40 years. So, you know, we kind of need a pension and something to fall back on some of these older guys like Donald Curry with the experience and the know-how to kind of be that thing. But you also, a pension would be out there, but you know, you gotta have a planner. And when I first got into the game, I didn't know nothing about safety. You know, everything I got, you know, I spent it. So you gotta get in a good habit of taking care of your money. And I was taught early, but you know, when managers and trainers come at you, they want to make all the money, but you know, the more you spend your money, the more you fight. So you know, it's kind of like Todd said, we need a little education on how to take care of our money.
Well, and those are the things that I'm trying to set up some meetings with some congressional people now. And I'm hoping that sometime, right now it's the summertime, so it's kind of hard to get these guys together. But I'm hoping that by the fall we're able to get these guys sit down and we're going to meet with them because I intend to bring out just those issues you're talking about. I say this and I'll continue to say this when there's a pay-per-view fight on television and hundreds of millions of dollars are being generated. And the 4-round fighters, the 6-round fighters on this undercard, but matter of fact, no one but the main event guys are the ones that's participating or that's getting the financial part of this. Television, promoters, the main events, those are the only ones that's getting a part of this. That money needs to be shared a lot more. So Donald, so I'm glad to hear you say that. Listen, I understand that the week of July 2nd that we're hoping to have you down here in Atlantic City with us. So, and we'll have you on the show, and we look forward to it, and then we'll try to set something up, or maybe people can come out and meet you that evening as well.
That'd be great.
Okay. Now, well, again, you want anything else you want to say about the International Boxing Hall of Fame?
Oh man, I had a great time. It's a great place. I had been up in Canastota, New York, and I had a great time. It was the best time of my life, and I'm very glad that I got into boxing.
Okay. Well, thank you again, and we look forward to having you up here, rather, and coming to Atlantic City and come and join the shore. This is a beautiful time to be by the shore, man. I'm telling you, the weather's fantastic. It's 80 degrees outside, 85. You can get to the beach. You can walk the boardwalk. Okay. Well, look.
Really great, and I'm excited.
Well, thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Star, for putting that together. That was Donald Curry. Now, again, I'm I'm not sure what the transmission was like through the whether you get it through Provide or if you got it through Facebook. But the thing is, we want you to hear from these fighters more and more. And as we'll continue to do this show here, wherever we are, we're going to bring these same issues. If you would like to call in today, and you think well, you can get in now. The number is 609-226-7406. And we'll take a question from you. If you have a question about something that we just talked about, or if you have a question about anything else in the world of boxing, how do you feel about the upset that with Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua just 2 weeks ago? Will Tyson Fury make an impact between those two guys? Personally, I don't think that Tyson Fury's style is made for Andy Ruiz. I think Ruiz will have an easier time with him because I think that because of the style that he is and the aggressiveness that Andy Ruiz has, and who has pretty good hands, I don't think Tyson Fury would be as big a problem for him as a Wilder who throws a lot of hard punches. But it's interesting. It's good. It makes good conversation either way it goes. But if you like to, again, the number is 609-226-7406, and we're here at the Choice Bar and Grill at 407 in Atlantic Avenue, Albany Avenue, 470 Albany Avenue. And don't forget, as we continue to talk, and we'll let you know again next week as well as a private party for the great one, Roberto Duran, June 22nd, here from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Ticket price of $25. Come by, and I'm sure that more than Duran will be here. Well, we're looking for Iran Barkley, I think, to be in town that week as well, so I'm sure that he'll come by, and maybe some of the others, maybe even Bernard, those guys may decide to come through, and Bernard Hopkins and Ray Mercer, those guys may decide to come through. So it should be a great weekend, a great weekend for boxing, and a great time here at F0REMAN. I got a chance to talk with one of the Charlo brothers the other day. He's disappointed because one of the Harrison, that he was supposed to have been fighting Harrison in a rematch for his title, but Harrison is now having surgery, so he's having to pull out. Still going to be a fight. It's just it won't be for the title. And of course, Charles Jamil is saying, "Hey, look, he's going to have to give me my title back one way or the other." But I think he's having, I think it's shoulder surgery, so he has to pull out for a while, and maybe for about 3 or 4 months he'll be out they say on the bench, waiting until something happens. But so that's in that case. With July the 20th, the conversation now seems to be turning to Thurman and Manny Pacquiao. That fight is starting to take on a lot. It's a pay-per-view fight, of course, but the fight is starting to take on a lot of interest now because they're saying that will either be Manny Pacquiao's swan song, maybe, but you know how old fighters are. They never quit. They just look for somewhere else to fight and to go. But or it could end maybe Keith Thurman rise to the title again. Should he lose to a 42-year-old, I think he's 42-year-old Pacquiao. We want to thank you to all my friends, Chris Mendola on Facebook, Helene Vaughn, Cindy and Eric, Cindy and Phil Erickson, as I said, and a lot more because we're streaming on 2 different networks now. So I'm trying to read some of these. Oh my, Carolyn as well. Terry, how you Terry Hill? That's good, Terry. All is good, Terry. Good to hear from you too. So we're kind of like doing 2 things at once, and I'm enjoying this because in the past we've sat in the studio and literally all we could do is just talk to you, and you never got a chance to kind of like talk back to us unless you had a chance to call. So being here is pretty good. I'm kind of enjoying this now. But the sport of boxing within the last year has taken on a lot of different impacts in people's lives. MMA, we talk about a lot about that sport, and I'm wondering, has the effect or the impact that MMA had maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and people was trying to say that MMA was going to replace boxing as the sport. I don't think it ever will. It's a tough sport, and we know that boxing is tough, but I just don't think the longevity in MMA is there as it is in boxing. These guys tend to get hurt. They get injuries that boxers just don't get. So is the impact the same as it was in maybe 2010 or 12? Not so much. I just think you're starting to see a lot of the guys drop off now. You don't hear about the big names as much. It's normally one or two. The girls are making a big impact in the sport of boxing now. You have Clarissa Shields, who I think is one of the finest young athletes. Women don't fight men, so at least not yet. But there's been a couple. Ann Wolf, maybe Layla Ali, Jackie Frazier. They probably could give some guys that pretty much good going over if you weren't in the type of shape you needed to be. But this Clarissa Shields is a different character altogether. I think that she'll probably wind up dominating perhaps probably 2 or 3 divisions in women's boxing. I really do. She's not a big boned girl, but she's athletic. She moved and she has the potential to move up in weight and go down in weight. I think in her next fight she's dropping down, or she's meeting someone, a young lady from Bolivia. I spoke with Bashir Ali, who was on his way to Colombia, Bogota, and he's training her next opponent. And my understanding is she's moving down a little in weight to take. And this could be a trial. Maybe she figures if she does well there, she'll go down a little bit and take on that, come back to hers, and then move up a little again and fight whoever the girl is in the light heavyweight division. She's an outstanding young lady. She has 2 gold medals. I don't think there's another boxer in America. Now, I'm not sure about the history of the world, but I don't think there's another boxer in America that has 2 gold medals in consecutive Olympics, and then to come out and win a world title is just almost impossible to do. So I want to wish Clarissa Shields, and we're going to try to have her on, maybe through calling, or she fought in Atlantic City, I want to say a couple of months ago. I wasn't in town, so I wasn't able to get to see her fight, but I've seen her on television, and believe me, she is the real deal. There's just so much more to say. Time doesn't always permit us to do this. We had some technical problems at the beginning on Provide here, so we weren't able to bring you the full show like we wanted to, but we were able to get in about 45 minutes of the show. So we're going to kind of cut short on this, because sometimes those saying once you start talking, you're just talking. You don't have anything to say. But we want to thank Riddick Bowe, first of all, for calling in, and we want to thank Golden Johnson, Star Johnson, and of course, recently elected Hall of Famer Donald Curry for calling in to give us their opinion. And again, we intend to have them on the show in a couple of weeks. And if you're in Atlantic City, the good thing about the internet is what I like is another thing. We can talk to people in California. We can talk to people in China, Japan, London, wherever you are. But if you come to Atlantic City and you don't come by the Choice Bar and Grill, you're in trouble. Okay? So please, make it a stop on down, stop in at the shore. Again, it's a great time to be here. It's just a wonderful time to be here. So stop by the Choice Bar and Grill. We want to thank them for allowing us to do our broadcast from here. I love it. It's real nice. It's cool inside the building. Beautiful, wonderful VIP place. Many areas that sit outside. They sit outside or in to have your nice, cool drink, whatever your beverage of choice may be. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but whatever your choice of beverage may be, and you got that Moe's chicken in the back here, from what I understand. And so please feel free to stop in. We want to thank you for watching, tuning in, and don't forget, June 22nd. Private party for Roberta Duran, and the tickets prices again, $25. Can't beat that to meet the legend. So we want to thank you for tuning in on Facebook. Our website, is you can go to RoyForeman.com, or you can go to www.providetv.provide.tv and leave a message or leave any questions. I have a list of questions actually that people did email me to at Roy Foreman. It's roroboxing@yahoo.com. People did send. I'll get to that next week. But we want to thank you again for tuning in, allowing us to be a part of your evening, wherever you are, whether you're sitting there with your cell phone or you're sitting at your laptop. I want to thank you for being a part of that. Thank you, and we will see you next week. If not next week, we will see you at the fights.